Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report. Trusted, timely, tradition.
Well, there's no doubt it was hot on Crop Tour this week. The western leg of the tour really struggled with that heat all week, but as scouts made their way down through South Dakota, Nebraska, western Iowa, and then up through Minnesota, how much damage did the drought do this year? Farm Journal's Michelle Rook hit the fields to find out.
Both heat and drought stress came together this year on the western leg of the Pro Farmer Crop Tour to produce a crop that was highly variable, making it tough to achieve big yields.
Scouts started out in South Dakota, where Sherman Newland says they saw an improved drought picture from 2022.
Last year was a complete drought, hit hard area, very low yields and everything.
However, there was variability, and for some, rains didn't start until the end of July. That early dryness may have impacted yield.
Corn, I think some of the rains may have been too late. It might help test weight, but the ear length, the tip is already set, the round is already set, and so I don't know how much it will help the corn.
Plus, Newland thinks yield could be further cut by this week's heat.
The dryness, coming up could shrink the grain depth a little bit and affect it some.
The soybean crop was also under stress, but did show better potential.
Our high counts are really strong. It's definitely above what we would normally see in the state here.
This has been a familiar sound in Nebraska this year, with many farms applying near to record amounts of irrigation water, and they aren't done yet.
It's been nonstop since we've been planting. A lot of pre-watering early on too. We just got to keep pumping as much water as we can.
Add the excessive heat, and pivots have not been able to keep up, which is trimming top-end yield on corn.
I think we're definitely going to take some off the top, probably test weight in the corn for sure.
Irrigated soybeans still look healthy with good potential, but farmers expect yields to be off of average.
I think before this hot spell on our irrigated stuff, we had a chance to be a little bit above our APH, and I think this hot spell kind of bring us back down into that area and level.
And with the lingering drought in Nebraska, dryland corn has suffered again this season.
But I think what we're counting for the corn crop is probably, if we get a 150 yield, I'm guessing it's probably going to be close to that.
Soybeans holding up better under drought stress, but he says they won't finish well with the heat. Last year, western Iowa was hit hard by drought, and some areas continue to struggle. Roger Servine says that led to variability in their corn yield checks, and it's what he's expecting on his own farm.
Corn, we will have farms that do 140, and we will have farms that do 200. So if we end up in that 170, using round figures here of 170 bushel, that'll be a win.
It would be a win because Servine is concerned about the impact of this week's extreme heat.
Since we haven't had rain in August, then it's going to start just cannibalizing that stock. But I think we can safely say we've lost 20 to 30 bushel easily on a lot of acres.
While soybeans are also struggling with the late season heat, especially where it's dry, there's more optimism about the resilience of this crop.
I guess obviously we're hot right now, but we started August cooler and wet, so the beans were getting those August rains that make good yield.
In Minnesota, farmer Brad Nelson was disappointed with the soybeans he found in his home state, as he found a lot of two-bean pods.
Well, it's a third less yield, out of that plant almost. Maybe not quite a third, but probably 20-25% anyway.
And there's also a great deal of variability due to the spottiness of the rains.
It's been popcorn showers all summer long, so it's made winners and losers in counties.
Scout and Nebraska farmer Tim Gregerson says drought also hit the corn, plus the heat played a role, and he gauges it by the lack of uniformity, or what he calls bouncy tassels, and the girth of the ears.
But if I can put my hand and touch my middle finger with my thumb on these ears of corn, that means that we don't have the depth there to have a monster yield, okay? This doesn't have the depth of kernel that's going to finish above average this year.
So the statewide corn and soybean yield are likely headed below historical averages, just like much of the western corn belt. I'm Michelle Rook for U.S. Farm Report.
Thanks, Michelle. Well, Iowa and Illinois were both big question marks going into this week. From a strong start in Indiana to a disappointing finish in Iowa. We'll hit the eastern leg of the Pro Farmer Crop Tour next.